Hello everyone, welcome to Breakfast Buddies. So today we don't have Beth with us, but we do have Lindsay back from yesterday. So hi Lindsay, how are you?
Not too bad, thank you. I'm just a bit tired,
Yeah?
but yeah, thank you. How are you?
Oh bless. I'm not too bad. I thought we'd start with our internal weather. So for me, my internal weather is I'm quite still, relaxed, and seeing how the weather goes, it could get better or worse. We'll see. What about you? How are you feeling weather-wise?
Very stormy here. Hopefully the storm will pass and the sun will break through sometime today. But yeah, it's been a long week with COVID in the house.
Oh, bless. Oh, geez. Okay, so I'm guessing it's been quite difficult having like a newborn, so it's just a lot of crying.
Yeah, he's just really unsettled. He doesn't sleep, having COVID, he's coughing, he's choking.
Yeah.
He's just not well at all.
Oh, bless him. So we will start with a story today. So have you heard about with the LGBT conference about the Safe to Be Me being cancelled and boycotted?
No.
No, basically what happened is that in light of news with Beth and I spoke about this yesterday, but remember there was a transgender MP that came out and said that he was trans in response to Boris Johnson making silly jokes that were distasteful. And from yesterday, we found out that loads of big LGBT companies have pulled from the conference because they have not lifted up the conversion therapy ban for transgender people. So they applied it for gay people and everyone else under the LGBT spectrum, but transgender. And because of this, if they did follow through with this would have been a monumental moment for the LGBT plus community. But unfortunately, because of this, it's kind of not given support for everyone under that. And in response to this, it did start around 80 companies, charitable organisations, mainly Stonewall, making the big choice to leave. And now there's been around it was like 80 plus companies, and now it's gone more than 100 organisations that have left to choose to boycott this. So what do you think about this? Because I feel I'm glad that they're making this choice to not support the ban for conversion therapy and to choose to not want to partake in that, because conversion therapy shouldn't really be a thing at all.
No.
I don't think. And I'm glad that these organisations have chosen to be like, if it's banned for one people, like group of minority and marginalised group, why can't it be for all marginalised groups? And it does make sense to me. Well, I've looked more into this, and it basically, their reasoning is to do with the gender euphoria, because they noticed that there is a very high death rate and suicide rate for transgender teenagers, children, all of it. And
I suppose they feel inferior that they can't come out because of the mocking and how people are going to react to them.
Exactly. And it's the case, that's probably what they're saying, like it because it's like not sexuality but more of like something within themselves, how they feel and everything. and that's why they haven't. Like, to me, it shouldn't really matter, but at the same time, this is their reasoning to why they just chose to not lift it as of yet. They still chose to keep this, and that's why. And as you can see with the group of people that are leaving, it's not. There's so many studies and stuff that says otherwise, that it is something that's better than not, than like suppressing the field to need to transition. But I do understand with like bullying at school, but I feel like we're now in this new generation of people that we're kind of okay, maybe. I'm not like, we're okay for people regardless of their race, gender, what they identify as, I think. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think that it's a good thing that people are boycotting them, because obviously they're showing support for those instead of them feeling unsupported.
Yeah, I think it is a good choice. What do you well, a good choice about leaving, not supporting the conversion therapy.
Well, it's wrong because everyone's individual, and you are what you are. You can't make somebody
Exactly.
something that they're not.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Yeah. Exactly. Um.
It doesn't matter if you think it's wrong or right. That person is, entitled to their own opinion and their own thoughts, views, and their own personality and their own, perceptive,
Yeah.
like their own image, their own personal image. And if that's how they want to be, then that's how they want to be. You can't force somebody to change.
Exactly. And this thing, like, it's not even something that is hurting anyone. I don't believe. The only thing, like, how you feel within yourself. If you're not putting it out there where you're causing harm, conflict to other people, like physically, and then obviously mentally it might be a different thing, but that's where conversation comes in. We have topics, like the reason why we have debates and everything. I do think it is something that, it's just like you said, it's for everyone. It's not hurting anyone at all.
No.
No. Um, what have you got for your news story?
I did send you a link. I
Yeah,
don't know if
so
you've
we
got that. I'm going
have,
to share it on here. Sorry.
yeah, we got the Cardiff Parkway train station.
Yeah,
Or
basically, yeah, this is in St Mellons. This is where I live, in Cardiff. There's no sort of transport really out of the areas unless it's bus. We haven't got a lot of
okay,
transport links to the city. And where I live in St Mellons is like borderline between Cardiff and Newport, and they've proposed to do this new railway system, which will link St Mellons straight directly, obviously, to Cardiff, Bristol, London. Um, it'll open up, obviously, a channel for everybody to be able to access transport, not just throughout Wales, but obviously throughout the UK, which is a
oh
massive
wow,
thing.
oh that's really good. Do you think is it going to bring up more?
The only bad thing is where they're planning to put it is like it's like a local lake is
Okay,
where they're planning on sort of putting it. Was by the lake, which could cause a problem because obviously people use it for fishing and things, and
yeah,
obviously like families go there with their children. But as in like putting more transport links, I think it's a really good idea. Obviously, with Cardiff being such an up and coming city, it's getting
yeah,
bigger and bigger. So yeah, I definitely think it's needed that the bus system is sort of overloaded, and
yeah. It
obviously it
says
takes
here, like,
probably 2-3 minutes, maybe
yeah,
5 minutes max to get into town from where I live instead of 25-30 minutes.
oh wow,
So it's a big
That's a
difference.
big difference, isn't it?
Yeah, it wouldn't take probably 5 minutes, 2, 3 minutes is probably exaggeration, but yeah, probably about 5 minutes to get from like the city centre to where I am. It wouldn't take long at all.
Because that's the one thing like I was put off with moving, possibility of moving to Wales was because I can't drive, and I don't drive, so I could do it. It's the fact that you have to be able to drive to get to most places, I think.
Yeah,
And I did not, and even though I rely on public transport and stuff, it is a big difference to have a service that could take, I believe it's like an hour, um, up to 20 minutes, that can be condensed down to a 7 minute journey instead, which definitely makes a huge difference.
it is, especially when people are trying to travel to work and the traffic on the roads and on about pollution,
Yeah,
etc. Obviously, it's going to make a massive difference in the pollution rates
yeah,
in the
that's really
city.
good actually.
It's going to take a lot of cars off the road, obviously, from this end of the city, because people
Yeah,
won't be using their cars for travel. The majority will probably go by train because they haven't got to worry about parking, how quick the trains are, obviously the timetable of trains. So yeah, it'll make a massive difference, definitely.
no, that's really good. Right, so we've got years. So my one now, I thought this was a thing anyway, but there's been a much larger increase of restaurants, large restaurant chains, putting calories on the menu. So I wasn't sure if this was a thing in Wales for you, but do most restaurants that you go to have the calorie next to like the
I
dish?
don't think so. I know that I've really noticed, I'll be honest.
Ah, okay. So I've noticed it mostly in like the big things like McDonald's sometimes. Like they started doing calorie, and
I
I
don't
believe,
really go into McDonald's. I'm more drive
yeah.
through. Obviously, with the kids, it's a bit chaotic to take 4 kids
That makes sense. With drive-through, I
to a
can't
restaurant.
really.
So yeah, so I don't really know about those things. They may do it here. I'm not too sure.
Yeah. So with restaurants, cafes, and takeaways, with more than 250 staff must print how many calories on their menu. Da, da, da. This new rule is because they want to plan to tackle obesity by helping people choose to make healthier life choices. So
I
this is
think,
why.
yeah, that's a good idea because a lot of people don't sort of realise what's in their food that they're eating. They think, oh, like say they went somewhere and it was like pasta and things, think, oh, yeah, this is healthy because it's pasta. But like,
Yeah,
the pasta itself is healthy, but then it's like what actually is in the pasta, as in the sauce,
yeah,
the contents which are making it unhealthy.
exactly. That's a good point to raise, and it's also good to see, like, I know some people can't tolerate certain like oils used and stuff. So like I feel like the more oil you use, it's more calorific, I
Yeah,
think.
definitely.
So that's a good thing to like keep an eye out for. But I think it's like, I don't know about you, but I don't feel like adding calories and like keeping count on calories equate to a healthier lifestyle, because
I think it's more than just the calories you eat. It
yeah,
creates a healthy lifestyle because obviously you put into your body what you want to put into your body, but then it goes on exercise, lifestyle,
exactly.
everything, not just what you actually eat. Because you could train and do like exercise like every day. You could go running in the morning, then lunchtime, then tea time, go to the gym, play football, and you could eat whatever you want because your metabolism's going to burn that off because
Yeah,
of what you're physically doing to your body. Whereas you could eat all the healthiest food in the world and sit and do nothing and still gain weight because you're not doing anything. Do you know what I mean? Even though it's not, you wouldn't gain a massive amount of weight, but you're
yeah,
still going to gain weight for whatever because of your lifestyle.
yeah, exactly. And it is like you could do anything and everything you can, and you might not even get the same result as another person. And it's very varied with dieting. Like it's really not just dieting, but lifestyle changes,
Yeah,
adaptation.
definitely. I think a
Um,
lot of people as well, like where the calorie counts, like they panic, and like some people, I know obviously like your set calories, etc. They're like, some people can have those full amounts of calories because of
yeah,
medical conditions, etc. And some people need more than those calories. So
yeah,
like when it's making you count it, it's like, and you're seeing what you're actually eating and taking. Some people get put off, especially like people with eating disorders and things like that.
yeah,
They're gonna look at it and think, "Oh, I don't want to eat that. Oh, I don't want to eat that because it's too many." You know what I mean? Like, or people who are
yeah,
paranoid about their weight or any of those type of things. Like, it's gonna. I think it could make it more of a problem.
yeah, exactly. And like I have a friend who been prescribed like the calorie drinks, and like she
Yeah.
had to have a certain amount of calories a day, just to make sure she can maintain her weight, because her body, like, I don't know, like, bless her, like, I wish I had that body, but she could eat whatever and it goes to nothing. But it's not a healthy diet, even though she looks healthy within herself. Um, she's not consuming everything she needs and have like the right results, like
Yeah.
the best outcome for it. Um, but a really interesting thing they worry about the results of this is, like you said, with eating disorders. So some restaurants fear that it will increase their cost, while having an eating disorder charity say it could contribute to harmful thoughts and behaviour. Um, I I can probably see why with the calorie counting, but each individual is different from how they deal with um, seeing those things. And if it's more of a thing now where you'll see that when you go into a restaurant, just expect to see calories, that would be less jarring, I think, than maybe having a restaurant and food that kind of differs. So I
Yeah.
think like if you expect it going in, it shouldn't affect the eating harmful eating disorder where you're constantly focused on the numbers than,
Yeah.
let's say, like,
Yeah, because like if you think, oh, I fancy burger and chips, and you like worries about your calories like intake, and then you go in and look, it's 1,000 calories. It's going to put you off instantly what you want to eat
yeah.
straight away before you've eaten it. You know what I mean? Like,
And to be
it's a
honest,
good
I
thing
don't
in a
think you
way,
would
but
have,
it's a bad thing as well for
yeah.
some people, definitely.
I just can't imagine like the idea, like I can see it from my mum's side of things with keto, but that's more low carb diet. So like little consumed
Diabetic.
carbohydrates. But it's the case of you wouldn't want to be going to McDonald's or Weatherspoons or all of these places with the intention of that will be a good place to eat for counting my calories or
No.
keeping on. So I don't. It's a bit weird, but I do understand that it should be on there anyway. I thought it was a thing because I go to eat at a restaurant chain in, it's called like the Lounge, but they take over like loads of cafe bar places, and they always have like calorie thing, and they also have a vegetarian menu, a gluten-free menu, and a vegan menu, and so they like cover everything. It's crazy. So I was quite surprised when I saw this that it's not on more of the chains. Um, so we'll do the last story of the day. What have we got here, Lindsay?
Basically, it's about the problems the Wales are facing with COVID, and schools closing because of how obviously now you haven't got to self-isolate. Obviously, a lot more people are catching it.
Yeah,
It seems to be um, more sort of out there than it was in the beginning. They're saying that the rates of like soared like higher than when we were in our pandemic. The hospitals are under massive strain because of COVID, but then there's no restrictions. But when it wasn't as bad, we had all these restrictions. It doesn't make sense. Like,
no,
I know from my own children that certain days they have to do online learning at home because they haven't got the staff capacity in the school to be able to teach the children. And it's just crazy. Like, if things are so bad, why have they taken all these restrictions and, rules that
yeah,
they've put in place out of place to cause this sort of chaos? Because the children's education has been disrupted enough with
yeah.
having nearly a year off school.
Yeah, I remember like mentioning like with yesterday, there was mentions of like the cases of rise, and I did think to myself, um, how is it still affecting children to this day? Because we can go to work now with
But
knowing
you
we,
can't go to school. You can't, like, my a family member's in hospital. Only one person's allowed to visit. You're
yeah,
not allowed in groups to visit. And some of the wards in the hospitals, you're not allowed any visitors. You're not allowed anybody to go to hospital appointments with you. Like,
right,
when I was having my baby, I was in labour. I was only allowed one person with me. Before, you were allowed two.
yeah,
And obviously, you can go to the pub, you can go to concerts, you can go to anything, but you can't have these certain things when it's like the most important things.
yeah,
It doesn't make sense. Like, it's
no,
affecting all the major things
yeah,
rather than the economy. Like, the economy where you can spend money and people make money, it's allowing
exactly,
that to continue. But where like education, healthcare, like things that actually matter,
yeah,
is all the restrictions are still there. I just don't understand it.
yeah. I, I kind of agree with that perspective because I remember not jokingly, but thinking to myself, right, when we had the lockdowns in between, like we had the second lockdown, and I thought to myself, you know what, they're going to lift up the lockdown just in time for Christmas, and when Christmas comes and it's been done, they're going to do a new lockdown, and that's what they did. So like they were like, oh, new restrictions in place on New Year's Eve, I believe, so no one
Yeah.
could go out and do the parties.
And then they took them all away though, and it's like they
Yeah,
took them all away, and now we're seeing our highest rates of COVID,
exactly.
and you haven't even got to isolate. Like, what? That's
I know.
crazy.
It's
Like,
a big
I have
difference.
stayed in having COVID. I'll be honest. The only time I've gone out is for a walk, where I haven't actually physically gone anywhere where there are other people. Like, obviously I'm not going in a shop touching things, and I've gone out just to get fresh air because I can't physically stay in the house. I'll end up going stir crazy because I've been
Yeah,
in since last Wednesday, so it's nearly a week. But I wouldn't go and visit my family. I wouldn't go and have food or go to the pub or go out, clubbing or, go like,
no,
it's crazy, and people are doing that. People are going to work with COVID. People are going to the gym.
yeah,
Like, you should be at home, regardless of whether it says you haven't got to. You should, common sense is stay at home, because if you give that to a vulnerable person who's not
yeah,
susceptible to be able to, their body's not going to, sustain COVID, then you could
exactly.
be the cause of killing them.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
like, all for your own selfish needs. That's why I wouldn't go anywhere where there's other people. Like, hence why I said I went for the walk for my own sanity. And if there was people walking on the same side of the road, I'd cross over or move around them, so I wasn't in enough space. You know what I mean? Like, you're
Yeah,
outside. They say outside is okay, is safe, but I wouldn't go indoors with people. I just
no,
think that's irresponsible,
but I do
especially
think,
seeing how ill my family have been, and obviously, like,
yeah,
having a newborn baby and he's got it. Like,
yeah.
it's so big.
It's like people forget that it's still a thing. It still
Oh
exists.
yeah, it really is still the thing.
And even though we're not legally required to wear masks, um, like I've seen much less people wear any at all, and I feel like that should be more. Like I feel like most people should adapt that more in their lives, in a sense of if you're not well and you may be feeling a bit run down, go out but wear a mask if you need to
Yeah,
go, type thing. Because I think that's what they did in I think
that's
they
what I did
did
when I
in
went for a
China.
walk.
So
Yeah,
like if you're not feeling well,
wear
or
the
even
mask.
if you have a bad breath, I've heard that if they have bad breath, they would use the mask to cover up as well because it's like polite to like other people,
Yeah,
things like that. So, but I do, it does baffle me that people are living as though nothing's ever happened, and
it's
I,
crazy.
and it kind of like I got a message today from my parent, my father, saying everyone down here has COVID or something. So he clearly not been following rules because he never believed in it in the first place, and now he's saying he has it. I'm like, well, is it real or not? Like, how's
Oh
your
yeah, it's real.
now?
It's awful. I'll be honest. Like I was a bit skeptical at first,
Yeah,
um, of it all. But like I'm triple jabbed as well. Like I've had my 2 jabs and
yeah,
my booster, and I've still got it, and it's made me really ill.
yeah. I think
So
it's
if
like,
I didn't have any jabs,
oh yeah, I think it with him, he was very much someone that was conspiracy nut, like it been made to make people sick, da da da.
yeah,
And
my
like,
partner said the same until he caught it. He caught it before all of us.
yeah,
He didn't believe in it,
yeah,
and he caught it, and he was really ill when he caught it. Really ill. He couldn't breathe, and like he said, like I believe it's real now. When I said, "What it took you to catch it to believe it's real?" Like, but
yeah.
he still won't have his jab. So
If I don't know if it's like maybe a male mentality. I know I sometimes have this mentality of, when you, like when you're bearing a child, like the mother goes through it. She knows she's pregnant from the beginning. She feels like a mum, but the dad's like, yeah, he'll get here when he's here. And then when you finally put the baby in front of them, they're like,
yeah, it's
I'm a dad
different.
now.
Yeah, like you've been a mum since the time you've conceived. Like
Yeah,
whereas for them, they're only a dad when that child's put into their arms because obviously they
yeah.
don't
I've
feel.
witnessed that with my friend so many times. I'm like, you do know you're expecting a child. Have you done this, this, this? And they're like, what are you on about? I
Yeah,
know what you're talking about. I'm like, come on, man. You need to do a bit of research. But yeah, I believe that is it for today. So if just so you guys know at home, even though we are closed at the moment, we are still online. So always come in to say hello. On our timetable for this week, so tomorrow on Friday we have breakfast buddies again, and on that evening we have story time with Jasmine with about 4:30 for the book Giver of Stars, and then for the following Monday we have Beth's story, which is The Last Wish, and again every day we got Steve gaming as well. So come, even though we are shut, we are still open online. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for speaking with me today, Lindsay.
it's okay.
And I will see you next time. All right.